Good evening, everyone. Welcome to All in One. This is the podcast where we keep it real, we keep it authentic. Tonight we have a new member of the panel, Meech. And what we're going to do is go ahead and let him introduce himself. And then we're going to go ahead and jump right into the subjects and right into the podcast. So, Meech, go ahead and tell people about yourself, man.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Demetrius, but I'll go by Meechy, which is better. From Virginia, live in Virginia most of my life. Former soldier, a patient care tech at University of Virginia Hospital. I write, I write poetry, short stories. Love meeting new people. Um, just a good down to earth brother.
Sir, yes, sir. Pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Welcome to the team. And, I'm sure that we're going to have some great conversations come out of you as well when it comes along to this podcast. So, again, we're going to go ahead and dive right in. So, tonight's subject is about red flags. Oftentimes we see them, oftentimes we ignore them. We give people passes when they probably shouldn't deserve that pass because we always, or most people, expect the best out of folks, even though sometimes you just have to learn that people are who they are. So we're going to identify these red flags and talk about a couple of them here. And these are the conversations that, for me personally, I wish I had when I was, of age and when I was going through some of these things, and wish that somebody could have set me down and said, hey, look, you need to pay attention to XYZ. So with that being said, what are red flags? For me, I look at them as warning signs. It's patterns that people continuously do that we make excuses for. Once again, it's that unhealthy behavior that we go into. One of the main ones is a lack of accountability. Most people don't like to be told when they're doing something wrong or when something is perceived to be wrong, not necessarily because it may not be wrong to them. You have to understand that there are checks and balances. A person may be doing a certain thing their whole life and therefore they think it's normal. When in reality, it could just be, that toxic behavior, these red flags that we talk about. We often justify those behaviors, even if we do it ourselves. No, I didn't do that. This happened, not that happened. The whole 9 yards. So for me, a lack of accountability is one of those major red flags when people can't say, if you know you did something, just own it. That's just me personally. Own it and let's move on. As opposed to shifting blame or trying to justify your behavior. There's so many things that we can talk about. That's just one. There are several different red flags, and it's going to be different for everybody. What somebody can tolerate, someone else may not be able to tolerate. And that's perfectly fine. But it's all about recognizing these actions as they happen, and then being able to either be able to talk about them, recognize what they are, or move away from them because you realize that person just simply is not going to change. It's innate within them, and they're going to be whoever they have been their entire life, and they refuse to change. So with that, I'll go ahead and open it up to the panel. If anybody wants to speak first, then I'll give you guys the opportunity to say something. If not, then we'll continue to roll on. So anybody wants to take the floor? All right, Loki, we see you with your hand up. Go ahead and take over, my man.
Well, when people start talking about red flags, yellow flags, blue flags, all of these types of flags, you know what I mean? They are essentially meaning something. And when you, how can I say this? When you look at the way people do things in their own way of life, what actually, because I ain't gonna lie to you, I mean, I hear it and I see it, but I'm really not. I try not to judge people, so I try to look over them type of things because it may just be a fluke. It may just be a mistake. You never know. You know what I mean? And so it's like, from y'all point of view on it, how can y'all call a red flag, or what is it to y'all? Because that's something I would like to know also, if you don't mind.
A red flag could be you see a person giving off a particular type of vibe, or they're doing things that you're questioning. Like it could be like if you're talking to somebody and they're showing like insecurity right from the jump, y'all not even together. That could be a red flag. They're asking you questions about something like say you're out with the person and then you look over and they tap you like, who is that trick? Who is that dude looking over here? That could be a red flag. Being bossy towards you, like, I don't want you to talk to your family. You only worry. I'm the only person that you're going to be worried about from now on. That's a red flag. So it's like insecurity, trying to control somebody. So stuff like that. That could be a red flag.
So you telling me that if someone, when you said somebody talking outside of themselves, you know what I mean, like saying trick and things of that nature. Yeah. So can you elaborate a little bit on what? Because I mean, I've heard people say this, you know what I mean, but I never really understood what they really meant.
You have a significant other, okay? Mm-hmm. And every time you go to work, when you come home, your significant other is like, who are them bees you talking to at work? You shouldn't be talking to them bees at work. Knowing that you have to talk to people at work because you work with them. So stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. And so, like when they talk, how they talk about the red flag, but then are there any other flags that I must look for?
Yeah. You can look for like sneakiness, trying to do stuff behind somebody's back.
Okay.
When somebody's trying to do something behind your back, trying to get over on you. It doesn't have to be a significant other. It could be a family member.
Right.
Because sometimes in life, you have to cut family members off too. Just trying to be real, because sometimes, as you're moving up, like crabs in the barrel. Sometimes your family members pull you down. Be like, oh, you going for a degree? Are you smart now? You ain't gonna never get no dang degree. You want to go ahead and give it up. So that could be a red flag from your family.
Okay, so bashing. Okay.
Yeah, bashing. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Now, Arya, I see you have your hand up. Would you like to input on this?
Yeah, so when it comes to red flags and deflection, the one thing that you want to look for is signs of manipulation. A person is going to try to manipulate you in multiple ways to get you to do things right outside of yourself. They can really make you feel like you're questioning yourself. Kind of like gaslighting, narcissistic behaviors, things of that nature. You can look for like inconsistencies in their communication. They won't hold any kind of responsibility or accountability for making you feel the way that you feel. You'll start questioning everything. And honestly, when you start questioning it, is really your subconscious is coming through and telling you that you need to watch out for these red flags. Some type of examples I can think of is like when people don't have empathy towards you or make you feel like whatever you did or said was wrong, even if you know that you were in the right. Like a real life example I can give is, I'm not giving any names, but a significant other would be like, oh, you did it. You only cleaned the floor, right? You cleaned the floor in the house, but you cleaned like the living room floor. And because you only cleaned the living room floor, that's not enough. You did nothing all day. You were lazy and all that. So you'll start questioning yourself and you're like, wait, did I not do enough? Maybe you had work all day. Maybe you had school all day. Maybe you only had an hour of free time to actually do something in the house. And that one thing just wasn't enough. Those are just like different types of red flags. Love bombing, people trying to make you feel like you're in the best situation ever. Oh, I want to do this for you. I want to give you this and I want to give you this. And it makes you feel so good and you feel like you're in the best situation ever. And that's just them getting you where they want you. Because once you give in to all of that, and you're already hooked. You're like, I'm going to go above and beyond for this person. And now this person knows they have nothing else that they have to do for you. They have nothing else that they have to give you. Those are just some examples that I know.
Okay. Okay. Now, I mean, I can understand that because I've seen that, but I never was understood what it was. And the things like that, I ain't gonna lie and say it don't confuse me a little bit because it actually does. And it's just like, wow, what am I supposed to do next or do with this situation to make it even better than what it already was or wasn't, should I say? And Goddess, I see you with your hand up. Would you like to input on this?
Yes. I would say, I mean, I agree with everybody that said the warnings of red flags, but a few of the ones I was thinking about are like the secretiveness and tries to make you feel bad about yourself, tries to take control, tries to isolate you, and tries to pretty much this. I guess this also counts as like tries to control you in a way. Like I feel like all that comes to like narcissistic traits, but those are like the few ones that I've thought about. Also criticizing the way you look, what you do, what you say, how you say it, like every single thing you do is like criticizing, or even changes the words or how you say it, or takes it in a way that's not if you didn't mean it that way. I don't know if that makes sense. But those are the few ones that I wrote down. But yeah.
Okay, I got you. I understand. And then Arya, I see you with your hand up. Would you like to input also?
I think Unc had his hand up first.
I apologize.
Go to Unc and then I'll jump in.
No problem. So I got a list of the most popular red flags that people tend to overlook or don't actually recognize. That list consists of the lack of accountability, inconsistencies in communications. Basically, that's that hot and cold energy. 1 minute we good, next minute you know what I'm saying, you're all over the place. Is something wrong? Disrespecting boundaries is another one. Pushing limits even after somebody has told you no or stated that this is not something that I enjoy doing. And then that individual continuously tries to push that narrative on you, even though I already told you that, look, I don't like this. And then, you know what I'm saying, so you're disrespecting boundaries. You have the love bombing, as God has spoke about, and then ghosting. Don't leave that part out. So it's I love you, I love you, I love you, and then it's silence. You know, it's that manipulation. You have what Meech spoke about, which was the jealousy disguised as love. Oh, I'm so concerned about you. I just want to know what you're doing. In reality, you can't stand the fact that I'm making these moves or whatever the case, and I'm doing it without including you into it. That's another thing that that's on the list: the gaslighting, the isolation, and then not being emotionally available. You know, I mean, oh man, I was in a relationship before, and I think I told this story on the live once before. Whereas it's like we wake up in the morning, everything's great. You know, individual goes to do her work. I go sit down somewhere else. I'm, you know, engaged in making beats or doing whatever it is that I like to do. And then all of a sudden you come over and it's like, I'm mad at you. I'm thinking you're joking because we were just good before you started working, and now all of a sudden you're mad. So I'm like, shit, I don't care. You're like, yes, you do. If you say so. I really don't, but if you say so. He's like, you don't even want to know what you done. So now I'm looking at it like, you serious, you know? And it's like, I haven't done anything. I've been sitting right here, you know, saying, making this beat. So whatever you think that it is that I've done and that you're mad about, just let me know when you get over it. Because I didn't do anything to make you mad, and I'm not going to attempt to do anything to make you happy because I've done nothing. So that's that manipulation, that gaslighting, that level, that trying to take control over a situation so that person feels as if they have their the upper hand. And on that, I'll land my plane there.
Okay.
Arya,
Arya, you had you wanted to say something? Yeah, after him, you said.
Yeah. So I read this book by Susan Forward. It was called Emotional Blackmail, and she described it in a really good acronym called FOG. So FOG is your fear, O is your obligation, and then G is your guilt. So basically, they'll make you fear that you're going to lose them, or there's consequences to losing them, or, you know, if you set these boundaries and they aren't allowed to cross them, then they give you that fear. If you leave me, I'll do something to myself, or I can't believe you're doing this to me after everything that I've done for you, you know. So it just makes you feel anxious, and it makes you feel like you can't advocate for yourself, which is one thing I always tell my students. You have to advocate for yourself, no matter how young you are or how old you are. Speaking up for yourself is going to allow you to set strong boundaries, and even the like obligation part. So when you're obligated, that means that you owe somebody something. I owe you whatever it is. I owe you money. I owe you peace. I owe you my loyalty. I owe you my commitment. That is your obligation. So if they say like, you're so ungrateful. I do all these things for you. You're obligated to give me what I am asking for, says the narcissist. Those are also red flags. And then making you feel guilty, which we've mentioned before. Like you are now the bad guy in this whole situation. There's nothing that you can say to make this person think otherwise, because they're going to continue to push that narrative on you and make you feel guilty and make you feel like the bad person. So now you're going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. This is my fault, because if I did this, then there wouldn't have been this consequence. I shouldn't have done this. And then you wouldn't have reacted the way that you reacted. So you just have to watch out for stuff like that, and don't apologize for things that you know that you didn't do, basically.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, like Unc said about the relationship, I've been in those relationships where everything was going real good. I thought everything was going real good. We never argued. We saw each other a lot. We didn't live together, but we still saw each other a lot. Came up with like future plans and stuff. But out of the blue, I was ghosted, like blocked, not answering calls, not answering texts, not wanting me to come over. So then I started questioning myself, like, what am I doing wrong? And then like 2 months later, she pops back up like nothing ever happened. You know, so I'm like, hold on. was going on, but I was still, because I was falling in love and I took her back, and then it happened again. So it's crazy. So that's the thing with like what Unc was talking about, saw the red flags, but ignore them. So yes, I can tell you that I ignored them. Younger and was in love. She was, she was really beautiful. But she had this ghosting thing. Like she would stop talking and go away for like maybe 5-6 months and come back and nothing ever happened. And then I was in another relationship where I saw the red flags from the beginning, from the jump. And I was like, well, she's fine. I can look over that. And I always had a crush on her. So I'm going to go ahead and, try to get it and try to get with her and stuff. Then we got together and she kept showing the same red flags, more red flags. She would do something and then act out, be a narcissist, like Arya said, manipulating, insecure, but I always look past it. But I just
Is that what you call fools, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can say it. Yeah, I just like one night I was like, nah, I can't go through this no more. Yeah, I'm leaving. Cause we didn't live together. I didn't live with her. I just visited her and I had like a bag of clothes down there, So I got my bag of clothes and I was like, well, you want to act like that? Then you do everything on your own. I'm not going to help you anymore, and I'm not going to look out and trying to go out of the way for you, for somebody who's not doing the same for me. So,
right.
Yeah, and she still tried to hit me up, and I'm like, nah, we're not getting back together. I'm just going to go ahead and be single. That was like 3 years ago. So I'm like, yeah, I look past the red flags. And went with it, but the last time was the last time. So
Okay.
yeah, sometimes you get fed up, man. Through life we all learn something, but sometimes there's some things we don't have to go through if we don't put ourselves in those situations.
Correct.
So, but when you put yourself in a situation, either good things are gonna happen or bad things are gonna happen. So. Just got to be careful with who you gonna want to spend your time with, who you want to give your time to, because time is precious and you can't get that back a lot of times. So.
I got you.
Yeah, that's my thing.
And so, I see you got your hand up.
Yeah, so I was just going to touch bases on what Meech was just talking about here when it comes down to the ghosting. One thing that, as fellas, we typically overlook this particular red flag, right? Because there's always something, oh, I'm busy, or nobody's too busy that they can't pick up their phone and text. It literally takes less than 10 seconds to send a text, hey, how you doing? A person shows interest to the things that they are interested in. If someone has ghosted you, 9 times out of 10 is because they feel like they got you on lock right here, right where they want you at. So now I can go out here and test this grass on the other side to see if it's really greener. And you know what I'm saying? So once they start showing interest into something or someone else, they push you on that back burner and expect you to stay locked in where they are. Or they'll tell you something like, hey, I just want to be friends. And that's cool. But what they really means is they want to be friends with you while you still stuck in this relationship mentality. They want you to be with them 100% while they play the field. So if it's cool, if you want to be friends, then let's be friends. Friends rules apply. If you got friends, I got friends. You got new friends, I got new friends. It's okay. As long as the playing field is even, then, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, do not ignore that flag, because that red flag is flagging like a mug and you need to recognize it as what it is. And, whatever comes about from it, then, you know what I'm saying, you got to make the best decisions for you. and or your relationship? Is it worth holding on to? Or do you feel like that red flag is so major that you got to let it go and move forward? And on that, I'll end my plane.
I'm in an amen with everyone when it comes to what everybody's saying about listening to yourself. I would say if someone's constantly making you feel like your concerns or your feelings are invalid, like making you feel like you're not enough, making you question everything, my advice would be to just stop and listen to yourself, listen to your body. A lot of times I think we're just especially some of us who are like intuitive and are empathetic and loving and just want the best for everyone else. We don't really listen to ourselves. We don't listen to our body, and we don't listen to that intuition that's telling us that something is off. That something that is off, 9 times out of 10 is wrong. It's off for real. And so you have to listen to that. And really recognizing that that's not love, that's control. They are literally controlling you and making you feel guilty and making you feel like you're supposed to do whatever they need you to do. Like a person, I was gonna say I had a person that was basically love bombing me and making me their everything, their friend, their companion, their doctor, their lawyer, their everything. Whatever they needed, I was that one person. And here I am thinking I have to fix them and I have to do everything that they need me to do and everything that they want me to do because they don't have anyone else. But they don't have anyone else because it was their choice. Their choice was literally, I don't want a friend. I don't want to be with my family. I don't want to be connected to anybody but you. And now here I am feeling like, oh, it's my job to make sure he's good. It's my job to make sure he's secure. And it's my job to make sure that his mental is okay. And I have to protect that at all costs, which at the end only just depleted me of my own care and my own sanity. So definitely pay attention, listen to your body, listen to what your inner self is telling you, so that way you are not controlled. Goddess.
Okay, one of the ones that I was thinking about also is those men or women where in the beginning, while you guys are in this talking stage, you guys are great, you guys are good, it's like amazing, you guys are on top of the world, and then as soon as you guys are in a relationship, it's like he has your emotion, or he or she has your emotions all over. Like you guys are really great sometimes, or really bad sometimes. It's like never like level. It's always good or bad. I mean, I was thinking about that. I don't know if that's a red flag, but I've also heard, like, I guess that would go under consistency, like not being consistent, kind of. Because, like, in the beginning, I feel like usually everybody's, like, in and everybody's trying, and then they end up not trying. I don't know if that makes sense, but I was... but yeah, go ahead. Whoever raised their hands. I can't see.
No, I'm in agreement with you. You are actually making a lot of sense. It's really like that hope, and potential, like what could be, this could be good, or this could be the best, because at the beginning, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at like what we actually want. This is what our dream is, to have this perfect partner, and so unfortunately, sometimes it just doesn't, it doesn't end the way that it starts, because it is that what do they call it, the honeymoon state, you know, where everybody's on board and everybody's doing everything perfect, everybody's saying everything perfect, you waking up with flowers and petals, and you know, you're going out on the dates, and you're getting the text messages in the morning, good morning honey, good morning beautiful, and then at night you're talking again, good evening. But once you're actually committed, then it falls off. And people don't realize, like, when you're in a relationship, it is continuous work. If you are not continuously working, it will not work. Doesn't matter how hard you try, it's just not going to work. Eventually somebody's going to want to give in and, you know, and go somewhere else, you know, and not even be with this other person or treat this other person the same way, which will have one of the other person like questioning, like, what went wrong? What did I do? How can I fix this? Am I crazy? Like, am I losing my mind? You know?
It's like the gaslighting, and, you know, and one other one that I want to say real quick is also talking bad about your exes, saying all your exes are crazy. I feel like that is such a huge red flag to me, because you can't tell me all of them are crazy. Let's say you've dated 5, 6, 7 people, but you can't sit here and tell me they're all crazy. Like, I feel like that makes you look like, maybe you should look in the mirror.
Suspect.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like I've dated men that have been like, yeah, all my exes are crazy. And that definitely stuck in my head. For sure, because I'm like, I don't know, because not all of them can be crazy. Because I've had exes, not because we broke up. It's not because it was a bad thing. It was like the situations like, oh, we're in a different state, we can't see each other, or oh, I'm moving over here for work, so we won't be blah blah blah. Like, I've had different situations with my exes. It's not always been, oh, we broke up because it was really a bad thing. But I've heard a lot of men say all their exes have been crazy, and that is such a huge red flag to me.
Okay.
I agree.
Now, I see you got
I
your
agree
hand
with
up.
that 100%. I don't know. I think it was on one of the lives that we did for AIO once, late night. I was literally saying the same thing. It's like, if everybody you ever dealt with, everything is always somebody else's fault, that is that lack of accountability. At some point, you got to sit down and look at yourself and be like, okay, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? What am I doing that's so wrong? Why do I constantly have these exact same issues, regardless of which relationship I'm in? You know, at some point, you got to look at self. If it's the exact same thing, the common denominator is you. You have to look at self. You know, you ladies mentioned the honeymoon stage, you know, and it's funny because it's like the second time I've heard that this week. And when I sit down and I really think about the honeymoon stage, right, I look at it like realistically. The honeymoon stage is it's one or two phases. I mean, yeah, everything's great in the beginning, or it's real bad in the beginning. You're doing one or two things and they both start with F. And if you're doing one, you're not doing the other. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's pretty much what a honeymoon phase is. When you sit down and you talk to anybody who's ever been married, that first 2, maybe 3 years, it's all about boundaries. What I'm willing to put up with and what I'm not willing to put up with. You know, and you start to learn each other. It's those growing pains. And again, you can't ignore any red flags, because the more you ignore those red flags, the more you're sitting here co-signing to the pain that you're actually going to go through. And the more that you're going to, I mean, you signed up for it, you know? I look at different phases, you know what I'm saying? You guys were talking about consistency, you know what I'm saying? So in the beginning, yeah, everything is great on both ends. The problem is that we often look out at what the other person is doing, and we rarely look in to the things that we have stopped doing, or we have justified what we have stopped doing because this person acted or behaved in this manner, or they didn't appreciate it to the level or to the degree in which you felt like they should have appreciated whatever it was that they did for you. And you have to understand that you cannot look for yourself in someone else. You know what I'm saying? You can't love them the way that you want to be loved. You have to love that person the way that they receive love. You know, but getting back to the flags and things of that nature, is like we often shut down long before we'll have a communication, a real conversation. And from my experience, people like to stop at the surface level. They don't like to dig in and get to the roots of things. They, you know, for me, here's another red flags: always and never. When somebody starts using those definitive words, always, you always doing this, you don't never do that. You know what I'm saying? Those are definitive words, and they are so easy to defend. However, we don't want to hear what that person has said, because if you tell somebody they always doing something, that means they do it all the time, nonstop, right? When in reality, they might have only done it once or twice. It's not an always. It's like telling somebody you always late for work, and then they look at you and be like, I was just on time for the last 2 days and stayed late. How am I always late when I was just on time? Same goes for never. No one never does anything. I don't care. No one always does something. No one never does anything. Those are oxymorons. It's jumbo shrimp. It is the tallest midget. You know, if you tell somebody you never do this, and even if they've done it once, you can't use the word never. You may most often do this, or may not do this as often as I would like for you to see it, but always and never, those are, in a sense, those are gaslighting words. You know, and on that, I will land my plane. Go ahead, Arya.
I love that you mentioned always and never. It hits me to the core. My partner literally, and I can say this, always, always said that. And I'm like, can we please define what that means? Because if I'm hearing this, and I say always because it's every single day, multiple times a day. So for me, that's always. Literally. And I never met a person that did that before. So for me, it was like this new thing that I'm not experienced with, this new behavior that I'm not used to, which kind of lets me, it's the same subject, but it kind of makes me veer off a little bit to not just defining red flags, but why do people ignore them, and why do people stay knowing that there are red flags? And when I go back and I look at situations that I've been in, there are a number of reasons that I can personally think of as far as why I stayed. I can't really say for everyone, but one of the things which we mentioned before was just that hope and that potential, because they're leaving all of these small breadcrumbs of love. And so you're accepting the smallness, you know, because for you, it's like, it's just enough to keep me holding on to this one person, even though they're showing me all these bountiful red flags and they're so big and vast. But that love is just like, oh, but you'll give me a hug, or you know, I see you every day, you know, that familiarity, you know. I can also say it has to do with what we spoke about yesterday, people pleasing. I'm so bad, or I've been, I'm healed now, but I've been so bad about people pleasing, like wanting to make sure that everybody is good and that I'm very helpful and that I'm going to be the easy one. I'm going to be the quiet one. So you can tolerate me because I'm going to give you peace. I'm going to allow you to have whatever it is that you want. I'm that easy one to love, or that easy one to tolerate because I'm giving you everything that you want. And I just need just a little bit of care and just a little bit of love, And the other thing is fear. That fear of being alone, fear of saying like, I'm never going to find anybody else. I'm 37 now and I'm starting over and I feel like, oh my God, the world is ending because I'm so old now, and getting back out there, the dating pool is just not it. So then it makes me want to like veer back, and I'm like, I know my ex really wants me back, so maybe I should take him back, even though he's a huge red flag, all because of that fear of being alone. Now, I'm not crazy. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But I'm not going to say that I have not thought about it, But like I said, I'm healed, y'all.
I am so glad. Right on. And so everything y'all have been saying has been so on point. And Goddess, I see you with your hand. Would you like to speak?
Yes. I was gonna say the fear and all that, same as you. But also one of the ones is the reason I would stay, or I was married for a few years, and even though he was mentally and physically abusive to me, I kept staying. It got me to the point where I got suicidal and I still stayed. It took me until I got pregnant, and found out that, he's never going to change. But one of the reasons I kept staying is because of judgment. Like, what is my family going to think? Or what is my friends going to think? Or what are the people are going to think? I'm supposed to be, I'm the pastor's kid. I'm supposed to be this. Like, that's always been in my head, being also a pastor's kid, is like, oh my gosh, like, what are people going to think? Like, I'm the only one of my siblings that is divorced, a single mom, and this and that. That has definitely been my number one, is judgment of other people. Because I think it's crazy, because I've been working, that's one of the things I've been working on, is not caring what people think. Because, they're not paying my bills. But for me, I've always wanted acceptance, and I always wanted people to like me and be part of people, if that makes sense. So for me, it's always been like, oh my gosh, I same way, like, I want to make everybody happy. I want to make everybody like me. Like, I want people to like me. I want people not to judge me. But yeah, that's one of the main reasons I've always stayed, especially in my marriage, because, yeah. And also having a kid and thinking about, oh my gosh, like, would I really stay in a toxic relationship just so that we can both be here? And one of my really good friends, their parents just stayed for the kids, and she's not happy. And it makes sense. If you're really not happy, then and your kids notice that, and that's a whole nother, thing. But yeah, I land my plane on that.
Arya, you're coming up next. I see you here with your hand up.
Going into what Goddess started mentioning about the family dynamics and how other people think about you. Oh my goodness, that was one of the main things for me too. One, because I've been married twice. The first one, I shouldn't have been married in the first place. I was only 20 years old when I got married, and I was with that person for almost 10 years. And I did not let this person go, even though they were abusive, because of the whole, oh, you're not supposed to get divorced. You're not supposed to, get with anybody else. You have to make your marriage work. And then I worked so hard by myself to try to make this marriage work. And a huge event happened that allowed me to walk away from that person. But I started building habits in my head. Now at this point, I'm normalizing dysfunction. I'm literally like allowing everybody else to tell me that this dysfunctional situation that I'm in is way better than leaving, than starting over. We're drawn to the familiar, not the healthy. What's her name? Dr. Nicole, can't think of her name, says that a lot. We're drawn to the familiar, not the healthy. And especially when like you growing up, Goddess, and you're having like parents that are in the church or that are pastors, it's like you even have a higher level, of what other people are going to say about you and other people are going to think about you. And then that can like affect your mental as well. And it's like, wait, these people, they're going to say these things, they're going to do these things. And there's like this level that you have to be at. And it's like, why do we have to keep putting ourselves on these pedestals that we didn't even build? We didn't build these pedestals. These other people did. They're not even in our house. They're not even seeing what we're doing. But then you have other parents. There's this movie. It's probably a whole bunch of his movies, but one of Tyler Perry movies, he was. I think it was the one. I don't know which movie it was, but it was the one where they had the angels in the sky, whatever, and the wife was getting beat by her husband, and her mom was like, just put some makeup on it and, just cover it up. And I'm just like, why would we do that? Why would we cover up our scars knowing that we're being attacked by the person that's supposed to be our husband or our wives, whatever? And we're just supposed to go with this and deal with this because of what everyone else thinks or what everyone else says. And I'll land my plane there.
And so, I see you had your hand up. Would you like to speak?
Yeah. Okay.
Right,
Correct.
You got something? You go ahead. Meech,
No.
you have something, you go ahead.
No, I was talking about is Medea's family reunion. Yeah.
No, that was it. Medea's family reunion. You're right.
All right. You can go.
All right. All the Tyler Perry movies is the same, just change out the character. The plot is pretty much the same. I'm just saying. He takes you on an emotional roller coaster, but in his movies you can see a lot of things that are actually prevalent in our own lives, especially in our culture, so if you pay attention to what you see, he takes you on that emotional roller coaster, but it's bringing awareness to the things that you actually need to look out for. I heard you ladies say some things that, as far as what you were looking for in your exes or, your potential spouses or mates. And what I'm hearing is that, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to overstep boundaries or speak on something that I'm not qualified to do so. But it sounds to me as if you see something in a person that you think you can fix. And then you attempt to fix that item or he's great for all of these things except for this right here. I can change that. And then it's like fixing them equals self-worth to you because you're able to help someone else propel to another level that person may not have been looking to get to and or didn't recognize that they needed to be at, right? You saw it, but they didn't. So that's trying to fix someone. The thing that I look at, and especially nowadays, I'm paying even more closer attention to it, is that as the saying goes, when somebody paints you a picture, don't let them paint you another picture, right? You're looking at potential. You're looking at all these things that you think this person can be or can become. But do that person really want to become those things? You know, so you kind of push an agenda or an objective towards someone. You set a goal for them that they have no desire of reaching themselves. They may not have a desire to reach themselves. And I know a lot of times you will end up driving yourself crazy trying to fix someone that don't want to be fixed. They see themselves as being perfectly fine the way that they are. I've been this way all my life. I don't see no reason to change it now. You know, whatever the statement may be. But don't, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but please do not, going forward, don't try to hinge yourself onto someone that you need to fix. See them for who they are, for what they say. Pay attention to what they do, more importantly than what they say. I saw, like I said, there was a young kid that was on, I don't know if it was YouTube or if it was on TikTok or whatever the case, but he was coming around, you know, one of the guys in the background was like, hey, what's the word for the day? And the young kid was like, men like what they see, women like what they hear. That's why men tell lies and women wear makeup. Damn.
That
You
makes
sit
sense.
down and you really think about what he just said was, we are attracted to certain elements. Even though those elements may not be good to us or good for us, these are the things that attracted us to that person. And then again, you start to see potential. But if that person is not trying to get to the same level, if you're not having those same conversations, which brings up another point that I had as well. It was like, sometimes you're in that chaos where you can accept things for where they are, you know what I'm saying? And other times you try to shrink yourself to fit in so that, well, maybe if I stop doing this, this person will love me more or love me better. 9 times out of 10, they're not. You know what I'm saying? You just got to accept things for what they are, how they are. And again, do not ignore the red flags. Actions over words, over looks, and over everything else. Actions first. What are my actions? If my actions are negligible, I can't get it out. But if they, you know what I'm saying, if I'm negligible with my words or with my actions, judge me on that. If my actions are pure, judge me on that. Not what you think I can be, not what you think you can make me become into, but just based upon the things that I actually do and or say. And on that, I'll end my plane.
I wanted to jump back on that. I wouldn't say that you're exactly wrong, but what I will say is it kind of goes back into that love bombing that happens at the beginning. So sometimes, especially those who are empathetic or what's the word, like empaths, you know, you feel the energy and you feel goodness from people. And so if they start to overcompensate for those love bombings, doing all of the things, a lot of times it might be easy to miss certain red flags. I can speak on my experience with my ex. I think when I was 20, my first husband, there were a lot of red flags there, but like I said, I was super young and naive. I had no experience with anything. I was a homeschool kid. So like, I really didn't know anything for anything. So that whole situation, I learned a lot from. There were things that I knew that I did on purpose that I shouldn't have done. You know, in hindsight or whatever, I wish someone was like telling me not to do that to get in that marriage, but I digress. My second marriage, I got into on my own. Like I knew I wanted to be with this person. I knew I wanted to marry this person because of the things that they did at the beginning. For a very long time, every single day, this person was contacting me, calling me, sending me things, random flowers or letters and handwritten notes and stuff. Actually driving, we lived an hour 15-ish minutes away from each other. I never had to drive to him, ever. He always drove to me every single day. There was not one day this guy did not drive to me. So to go to work overnight, and then come to me an hour, 15, 20 minutes away just to have to go back home and do the same thing over and over and over again. Like, that was a huge deal. That was a big deal. So there were no actual signs that I saw of any, red flags. It wasn't until I moved in and I started to notice that, like, things were slowing down. He wasn't doing the same things. So we had to have a conversation about it. And we did. And things started to go back up again. So we ended up getting married. Our first 3 years of marriage was great. Had no problems or anything like that. It wasn't until he stopped his job and started working at a new job that now I'm starting to see there's a lot of red flags here. And this person is now, I'm faced with potential over reality. Cause I'm like, okay, well, I know when the first 3 years was perfect. The first 3 years we had all these things. So I'm just rewinding every single time something happens. I'm like, well, the first 3 years, well, the first 3 years, well, the first 3 years. So I'm making up all these excuses for his potential over the reality that he did not want to change. He was not going to change. He was not going to get help. His mental health was gone. His trauma was taken over. He wasn't doing all the stuff that he's supposed to do. And then I'm also like, oh, well, he's ex-military and he was in the war, and, he had to like do things to people that he didn't, want to actually do. Like, some people sign up for the military, but they're always like, fingers crossed, I'm not going to actually have to do anything. And then it comes a point where, like, unfortunately, sometimes people have to do things that they didn't think that they were going to have to do. And so now he's got trauma. Now he's got anxiety and all these other mental issues. And I'm over here trying to fix this. Now it's my job to fix him and make him better and fix his trauma and and make him love me the same way that he used to love me. And now I've gone from the love bombing to the I'm in love to now I'm ignoring the red flags, trying to look at his potential for the past 3 years. Now I'm gone to trying to fix him. And now at this point, it's turning into codependency. And now I'm overly trying to fix everything, overly looking at rescuing this person when it's not even my job to do. Like, yeah, you're supposed to be there for your spouse and you're supposed to help your spouse, but if you're abandoning your own needs because they are abandoning their mental health and they're not helping you help them, then you're both going to end up falling. And you're going to be looking inward. And now you're like, oh, it's my fault that this person is like that. And I'll land my plane there.
I have a question for everybody, but I did want to share something off of you when you said about, in the beginning, it was really good with your husband. Hey, me too. It was amazing in the beginning. It was perfect. But I feel like all my relationships have been like that. It was like pretty good. And then as soon as but anyway, so my marriage, we did the whole like long distance for a while, and he actually cheated on me while I was still living in Oregon. And I was like, why did you cheat on me? Blah, 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 blah. You know, and he's like, oh, well, I did that because you're not here. And so I was like, okay, so let me move then, if, you know, because I should have saw that as a red flag in the beginning. But I was like, okay, let me move. So I moved my whole life to where he was. And it was good for a while. But it was perfect or whatever. And then it ended up being back to cheating, talking to other women. But I still stayed. I still stayed every single time. But I stayed because I thought he would change. I was like, oh, I can fix him. And I feel like a lot of people think that, like, oh, even though we see red flags or we see different things, that you're like, that's not right. I feel like, well, for me, I'm always like, okay, maybe I can help him change. And I feel like that's very trauma. It's very trauma based, I feel like, and also trauma bonding pretty much a little bit, because I'm like, okay, like I know how he feels because he's like manipulating me. I've gotten manipulated before, so I'm like, okay, let me stay because I understand how you feel. And I'm like, okay, and we're doing the whole circle again and again and again and again and again, and it took me years. It ended up making me pregnant to really leave the relationship, you know? But I feel like my question is, do you guys think that if somebody tells you they love you, let's say within a week or two, do you think that's a red flag?
No, I don't believe so.
I think it depends on the situation, honestly. That can be a red flag if you like, say for example, you're together for a week, but you're legitimately together for a week, meaning like you see each other all day long. I don't know, maybe you're stuck on a cruise boat, you know, then you're literally together for a whole week. You're getting to know each other on a mental note, maybe even physically, emotionally, spiritually. You probably could fall in love with that person in a week. But if you are with this person, maybe you only went on like 2 dates, I would probably say in that particular situation, that would be a red flag because you haven't even spent any time with me. How can you be in love with me?
All right. I agree with you wholeheartedly in what you stated. Because some people wear their heart on their sleeves. You know, they fall in love easily. You know what I'm saying? Again, it comes back to how much time did you actually spend with that individual? You know, even if y'all are long distance, okay, were you on FaceTime all day, all night? You know what I'm saying? Type stuff. You know what I'm saying? How often are you actually getting to know this person and having those conversations? Are you having what I like to call the deep conversations, where you're pulling back layers and you're actually getting to know that person, you know, as opposed to it just being superficial. Hey, I like this, you like this, we like each other, let's go together. You know what I'm saying? No. Are you having those deep conversations where y'all actually are connecting on a different level? Again, people fall in love quickly. People also fall out of love quickly. You know what I'm saying? Again, you can't ignore the red flags. But again, if it's something like they literally just met you and they telling you what they think you want to hear, as opposed to showing you. That's why I said look at a person's actions, not necessarily what they tell you, but what they actually do. You know, if their words and the action do not align, then you have to look at it as, you know what I'm saying, a fallacy. It's not true. They're selling you a dream. However, if their words and their actions actually do align, then you should be able to take that person seriously. You know what I'm saying? As to what they're saying. Take it at face value, but be cautious. You know what I'm saying? Because you are moving quickly if that person is already telling you this. there's layers to it, and it's going to be different for everybody and each individual. You know what I'm saying? You just base it on how that person moves, and on that, I'll land my plane. Loki, you want to add anything?
Nah, I mean, y'all hit everything that all the questions I asked, y'all answered it. And y'all answered it beautifully. Thank y'all.
All right, we are really just scratching the surface when it comes down to the red flags, because there's also red flags in the workplace. There's red flags in friendships. I don't know if you guys saw this video. I'm pretty sure you have. It's gone viral. The birthday crash out, where the two young ladies was in the car, and the birthday girl got mad at the best friend because the best friend was dressed better than she was on her birthday. Did y'all not see that? Oh my. That car conversation going home let you know that the birthday girl had deep down jealousy issues with her friend. She's telling the girl, you should have dressed down. You should have wore like a dream dress and some, what they call them, some tights or whatever type stuff. You know, you got more body than me. I mean, if you heard these insecurities flying out of this woman's mouth, it was crazy. And at the end, she literally started crying. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that is also a red flag. You got to look at who's jealous of what you have and what you do and how you're able to, you know what I'm saying, get to the things that you're able to get to, your bag or whatever it might be. You know, people will tell you that they love you. People, you know what I'm saying? So to me, love is not a noun, it's an action. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, you can tell me you love me and turn around and steal from me. You can tell me that you love me and turn around and cheat on me. Is that really love? You know what I'm saying? That's not love. You know what I mean? You say it, but just because you say it doesn't necessarily mean you show it. And to me, it's all about more so of what you show me than what you tell me. I look at people's actions, because action speaks louder than words all day, every day, twice on Sundays. Landing my plane there. All right. Anybody else have anything else they want to add to this segment?
Yeah, I think if we start talking about other types of relationship, we're going to be here for another 2 hours.
That part. Absolutely. I feel like this is a great conversation. It's beyond surface level. And it's one of those things, people don't like to peel back those layers. You know what I'm saying? The second that you point out something that someone does consistently, they become defensive, which is also a red flag that you need to look out for as well. But at the same time, I feel like you need to be able to have that safe space where you have to create the safe space first and foremost, that person feels comfortable talking to you. And if you can find someone who can have a level head and have that conversation with you, the hard part, you know what I'm saying, the honest truth, regardless of how hard it is to say, if they can say those things to you and not be upset, not get irate, you know what I'm saying, not curse at you, not degrade you in any way, shape, form, or fashion, but just have that honest conversation like, hey, look, this is what you did and this is what bothers me, you know what I'm saying, so that you can try to actually move forward and fix the things that's, you know what I'm saying, okay, you're right, I did do that. As opposed to, well, the only reason why I did this is because you did that type stuff. I mean, like I said, we can continue this conversation. We'll pick it up on the podcast next week. But again, find someone who is honest enough with you to be able to tell you the truth about yourself, and that can also look at themselves subjectively and say, you know what, you were right. I did do that. You know what I'm saying? And if they can own that, you know what I'm saying, and that person truly is genuine, you know, you go from there. Go ahead, Arya. I see you.
So I wrote myself a note, actually not long ago. It was homework from my therapist. It was a note to myself. Just because I know that I've forever been a people pleaser and I haven't really acknowledged or paid attention to my red flags, or not my red flags, but others' red flags. I mean, that's my red flag right there, is that I don't pay attention to the red flags. But it just says, I am not a rehab center for broken people. I am not responsible for anyone else's healing. I can love someone and still let them go. I deserve a partner, not a project. I am worthy of love that doesn't ask me to save or sacrifice myself.
All facts. You didn't break them. It's not your job to fix them. That was one of the things I actually wanted to say earlier. I actually wrote that down to say, you didn't break them. It's not your job to fix it. It's not. And, you know what I'm saying? Idealistically, a good relationship should bring peace to both people. However, people are individuals. You have to grow into that. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen within a few months. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand that when you're coming from in a relationship form, people have been a certain way their entire life. And then you come into the picture, hey, I don't like that. And if you can communicate that in a manner in which they can receive it, then there is room for growth. There's room for them to be able to adjust and adapt to how you are. You know what I'm saying? It's just, rarely will you find a complete package where you find everything that you love in somebody right off the rip. That's why they call certain things growing pains. You learn to grow with each other. You set those boundaries. Again, going back to that honeymoon phase, you either fucking or you fighting. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? When it first come down to it, excuse my language, but you, in the beginning, you're doing one of those two. If you're doing one, you're not doing the other. You know what I'm saying? So if you come to a point where you're fighting more than you're actually making love, or you're actually finding common ground, if you can't find something that y'all both love to do together, and that's my main thing, is like, if you guys have something that you both enjoy doing, do more of it. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to trying to mold this person into what you want them to be and try to get them to do all the things that you want to do because, hey, this is what I like, but that person may not like it. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that those are red flags. People are stubborn. We all are. We have our line that we just not going to cross. I don't care what you say, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I'm not doing that no more. Even though it's new to you, it's something that I might have done before in the past, and I already know that I don't resonate with it. So it's not going to be something that me personally that I'm going to continue to do. I would give you like, hey, look, that's not something that I want to do. Let's try to do something else. But if you hell bent on doing this one particular thing, go ahead and do it. Have fun. Let me know when you come back. You know what I'm saying? That's just me personally. A lot of people are not like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they would rather sit there and debate you about why they should or should not do, you know what I'm saying, whatever it is. But you, red flags all around. You know what I'm saying? Because one, you got one person who's not willing to compromise. And then on the other side, it brings me back to that age-old question that I've asked once before. If somebody tells you that this is who I am, this is what I like, and this is what I do not like up front, these persons have set these boundaries up front. Who's the asshole? The person who says that, hey, you should do this even though I know you don't like doing it, or the person who stands their ground on their boundaries? You know, another topic for another podcast, but we can come back to that. Go ahead, Ari.
I just want to end on a note and just say this one thing that I think is really, really important. And that's, if the price of love is losing yourself, then baby, that is too expensive. Let it go. That's all I gotta say.
Roger that. That will wrap up this episode of All in One. We appreciate you guys for coming out. Tune in. We're on all streaming platforms. Make sure that you check us out. Till next time. Thank you. Good night.